If you're looking to drive growth for your SaaS business and you've got your initial revenues, you're now looking to scale. Whenever you're in that point, and this has happened to me also, it can get really overwhelming on exactly what you do to actually drive that growth. The numbers can feel daunting, the goals might feel confusing, and there's a never-ending stream of new tactics, new strategies, new growth hacks that you can use supposedly to actually drive growth for your SaaS business. I don't know about you, but I like going back to first principles whenever I'm figuring this stuff out. When you go back to first principles, there's this one basic equation that you can employ to actually figure out what you need to do to drive growth for your SaaS business. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through that basic equation for driving growth. I'm gonna break it down into 3 key pieces, and then I'm gonna show you an actual example of it inside of a spreadsheet that I created so that you can start to understand how to piece this together. And when you employ this basic equation, I promise you, when you watch till the end, it's gonna actually bring clarity on exactly what you need to do to drive growth for your SaaS business and accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. After you've earned your initial set of revenues, something changes drastically. It's no longer a question of if you can actually build a SaaS business and scale it. It's more a question of how and what's the math to get there. This is one of the incredible things about SaaS businesses. Once you figure out that people want it and they are paying for it, getting more becomes actually more of a mathematical and a scientific process. This is why I love SaaS businesses primarily as an engineer. I love building them and I love scaling them with scalable go-to-market strategies. Here's the thing though, how do you actually break down this monumental task to small pieces so you can actually scale your growth? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 steps that I'm following for one of my own SaaS businesses. And I'm gonna show you in the end the exact example that I can use from the data from one of my own companies so you can actually use this equation, put it into play, and figure out exactly what you need to grow your SaaS business. So if you're excited to dig into principle number 1 of this basic equation, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Let's dig right into it. Principle number 1 is you need to actually establish a target number. This is something that so many founders don't do, and even when I was starting out in SaaS, I was afraid to do. When you set a target number, a whole bunch of feelings come up. Well, if I set a target and I don't hit it, then I'm gonna sound like an idiot. If I set a target and I don't hit it, then I'm gonna see that this is not a real thing, and that's scary. But staying in this nebulous zone of saying, I'm gonna get to $1 bazillion, or I don't know, let's just figure out what happens, is kind of comfortable in a weird way. But at the end of the day, when you don't set a clear target of exactly what you're trying to hit, you can't do this basic math equation, and you can't figure out what are the actions you need to do every single day to hit that growth. Because there's actual laws of physics that are in play when it comes to creating a go-to-market strategy and executing on it for your SaaS business. So principle number 1 is just set a target number. Now, if you're just starting out, you have your initial revenues, you have a certain number of revenues, just double it. Set that as your target. Once you double it and you hit that, then you can quadruple it again and quadruple it again and keep growing that number so that it doesn't feel scary. If you're in the mid to later stages, then you're kind of used to setting targets. Maybe you have a board and you have a certain target you need to hit. Maybe you have certain financial metrics you want to hit. Then just take that target and put it down and say, this is going to be my target number that I want to hit in terms of net new revenue. Sometimes people tend to overcomplicate this. They say, well, what's my MRR, net of churn, and all these other things. And while those are good and you can build more sophisticated models, that's also a way, all that complexity is also a way to actually get confused in what you need to do, which is why I just like to focus on what is my target net new number in terms of new revenue and new customers that I need to add to my book of business. If after that revenue compounds and I retain it and it grows and I expand it and I upsell it, even better, and those can come later. So step number one, principle number one in this basic equation is set a target number. Once you've set a target number, step number two and principle number two is to get some funnel metrics. Funnel metrics are some key pieces that you should already have on the customers that you've already closed and the revenue that you've already closed. This is the same three metrics regardless of whether you're product-led or you're sales-led. But I operate companies that are both product-led and also sales-led. And in those cases, the metrics are the same, but we call it slightly different things. So let me walk you through what those three metrics are and what they're called, depending on whether you're product-led or sales-led. If you are product-led, what you need to figure out is what is your trial to activation rate. Your trial to activation rate is if 10 people sign up for the trial, but 9 of them never do anything with the product and just leave right after, then that means only 1 out of 10 is actually activating in your product. And that's your trial to activation rate. This one is super important because a lot of times people just look at how many trials are we starting, but that's not very actionable. You want to figure out what percentage of people are taking meaningful action once they start the trial. Similar to if you're sales-led, then what you're really looking for is lead to opportunity rate. Meaning if you generated a lead, which is kind of like a trial when it comes to a sales-led business, what percentage of those leads are becoming real sales conversations? They're turning into a real opportunity. They're saying, yeah, I want to learn more. I want to book a demo. I want to book a discovery call. So the first metric you really want to track is the activation rate, lead to opportunity or trial to activation, depending on whether you're sales-led or product-led. The second metric you want to track is your activation to revenue. So if that one person, and you're in trouble if only 1 out of 10 and you only have 10, like obviously you want to go for larger numbers, you basically want to see what percentage of the people that activated are converting to revenue. And similarly for sales-driven, you want to figure out of the opportunities that are getting created, how many of them are converting to revenue, and that's your win rate. It's called slightly different things, but it's the same thing, regardless of whether you're product-led or sales-led. And the last piece that you need is your ACV, and that's the same for sales-led and product-led, which is what your average price is when people are signing up. If you're sales-led, what's your average deal size? If you are actually product-led and they're just swiping the credit card, what's your basic price that they're starting with? Forget about upsells and everything that can come later. These are the three funnel metrics that you need for this basic equation. You do this basic equation and you'll be able to break down exactly the type of activities and the action you need to take to be able to hit this target number. So just with these two things, hopefully it'll do two things for you. Number one, it'll help you establish a target so it's real. It can feel scary, but don't be scared. If you don't set a target, then you may never hit it. You won't go anywhere, so it's like, what's the use? Set a target, and even if you fail, at least you can keep iterating on it and getting close to that target. But imagine you set a target and you hit it, and you can double it again and quadruple that number and quadruple the target and keep scaling your go-to-market machine, and that's what we want for you. And then number two, figure out these metrics based on the revenue you have already closed. If you're in the mid to late stages, these metrics should already be there. It should be easy for you to pull. If you don't have it, then establish it. Pull your team together. If you're an early stage person and you're like, TK, I begged my mom to buy the product. I'm not sure if I can count this. Look, data is data. Look at the revenue that you have and figure out what the numbers are and establish it as a baseline, and then you can always improve it from there. Now, once you have these pieces, that's when this basic equation comes. Before I go into this basic equation, let me just pause here for a second. And by the way, if you watch till the end, I'm gonna take this exact basic equation, I'm gonna plug it into a spreadsheet, and I'm gonna show you exactly how it comes together. But before I go into all of that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? The power in this is instead of looking at this monumental goal of just, I wanna grow as fast as possible. I wanna get to the mythical million ARR or a mythical 10 million ARR, whatever it may be. Instead of just keeping it so nebulous, you can actually break it down into pieces. You can say, what's my target? What are the core metrics along my funnel? And then we can actually plug it into a formula and say, cool, what are the actions we need to take? And more importantly, as you start to take those actions, you can monitor each of these metrics and say, what do I need to fix? So for example, if you are generating leads, but your activation rate is terrible, or the leads are actually not turning into real opportunities or activated trials, then you know you can actually fix that part of the process. So just by doing this, you haven't even plugged it into this equation yet, you can already start to get some aha moments on, oh, I can actually instrument this, and I can start to figure out what's broken and what's not, and how do we scale this. You're starting to see the power in this. I haven't even given you the equation yet, that's next. And then I'm gonna go into an example. If you're starting to see the power in this already, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, if you're in this stage where you have some revenues and you're looking to scale the growth of your SaaS business, this is why I run my SaaS go-to-market coaching coaching program. This is why I know so much about this. This is why I'm obsessive over it. It's an incredible program. And you don't have to go anywhere right now, but inside of that program, I teach you exactly how to do this math and how to actually build that scalable go-to-market machine and execute on it. So I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode, and I'll also link to it below. But right now, let's go into the math equation so you can actually figure out where you're at. Also, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Now, the math equation. Are you ready for this? So basically what you do, this is how the math equation comes together. You take your target number and you divide it by your average customer value, your average price. That gives you the number of new customers that you need in order to hit that target number. Then you divide it again by your win rate or your conversion rate. That gives you how many at-bats you need, how many activated trials or how many sales opportunities. And then you divide it again by your opportunity conversion rate or your lead to opportunity conversion rate or your trial to trial activation rate, that first metric I talked about, this guy right here, this first one. And you get basically the number of leads that you need. That's it. That's a simple math equation. And that tells you, okay, in order for me to hit this revenue number, I actually need to generate this many leads or this many trials. That simple equation gives you clarity on, okay, is what I'm doing right now actually gonna help me generate those number of leads? And sometimes when you actually look at that number, it might feel impossible. But just know there are companies that are 100 million ARR, a billion ARR, and they're generating leads, believe it or not, of large numbers. The world is so big, the market is so big, so don't get daunted by it. And sometimes, I've done this too, and we can shy away. Even with this math thing, you're like, oh my God, this looks scary, I'm not gonna do it. Like, what is this math? Like, I don't know, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, you could go run and hide, but don't do it. Don't be afraid by it. Because at least when you write it out and you stare at it, you're staring at reality and you're saying, cool, that's what it is. Now, what do we change? Do we improve some of these metrics? Do we build a better go-to-market machine? Do we actually tweak the numbers that we're dealing with? Do we change our price? Do we go after a different market? It opens up some real conversations that you can have with yourself and your team, and then decide, all right, now, how do we actually generate these leads? Now, to make this very real, I promised you that I'd show it to you in an actual example. Let me go into the spreadsheet that I have for you, and I'll actually dig into exactly how this piece comes together. Okay, so this is a basic spreadsheet that we have inside of the go-to-market program for our members where they can start to dig into, all right, how do I actually deploy this equation? So I'm gonna take it through you step by step. And I recently started a SaaS business, and in 10 months, we took it from 0 to 30K in ARR, and we're now actually applying all the principles that I teach in this channel and the go-to-market program to scale it. So I'm literally going through this right now, and when I say I'm in the trenches with you, I'm actually in the trenches with you, plus coaching 250 plus SaaS companies and actually applying these principles. So I'm literally in the trenches with you. So I'm going through this process. I'm gonna plug in some of my actual numbers so we can dig into it. So this spreadsheet is super simple. In this case, this is a product-driven business, not a sales-driven one, but the metrics are the same. And step one, we're actually gonna plug in our targets. So let's just say we wanna create 100K of net new revenue. And the power of this simple equation is you can actually apply it in different ways. You can look at this as, well, I'm gonna add 100K of net new MRR or 100K of net new ARR. All of it is the same. It doesn't matter. It's just, this is net new revenue that I wanna add. It doesn't matter what time frame you need to add it in. So that's why this is so simple and so powerful. Once I've set that, I've set 100,000, cool. I can go in and say, cool, now how do I actually establish these funnel metrics? These are the funnel metrics that we talked about. So for this product that we launched, the start to activation rate, meaning they start a trial and they actually use the product, they actually do some meaningful actions in the product, is actually 9%. Now this is pretty good. We actually want to take this to about 20%. And we have some ideas on how we're going to do that, but 9% is pretty good and we're happy with it because it is converting revenue right now. Then out of activation, the percentage of people that go from activation to real revenue, where they swipe the credit card and start, is 20%. And we're actually really happy with this. We want to be able to actually scale more people coming through, more people activating, and keeping it at 20% or more as they're converting. So super powerful. And lastly, the average contract value on this, because this is product led, is $99. So you're swiping the credit card and you're paying $99. You'll notice that with this equation, we're not worrying too much about retention. We're not worrying too much about expansion. Those things don't matter. What matters the most at this stage is we're getting in quality customers and they're converting. Then we can start to look at retention and referral and the full flywheel that I've talked about in this channel. But this is all I'm focused on. And sometimes just focusing on this part simplifies things and makes life a lot easier. And then the third step comes in, which is it does the math for me. So again, this equation is very, very simple. You don't need to be a genius to figure it out. Basically, it took the target and then it said, cool, in order to hit that target with your average of $99, you need basically 1,000 customers. So in order to get 1,000 new customers, where only 20% are going from activation to revenue, we actually need 5,000 trials to get started. In order to get 5,000 trials activating, that means that we actually need 56,000 leads. Now, the beauty of this is now I know. On one hand, 56,000 leads sounds like an enormous number. On the other hand, I could have just hidden from this and said, look, I just want to grow this, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know exactly the laws of physics that apply to growing this business in this way. The powerful thing about this is this go-to-market machine is not even optimized that well. So if you actually scroll down, you can start to see, well, if there's an optimized go-to-market scenario where we're actually converting 20% of the people that start the trial to activation, and we actually figure out how to take those activated people and 40% are converting to revenue, for generating the same $100,000 in new business, I only need 12,000 leads. That's really powerful. And that's the power of actually doing this basic equation. On one hand, it can feel so daunting to say, what do I do? What strategy do I do? What steps do I follow? It can also feel really scary to say, this is going to be my target, and I may or may not hit it. But on the other hand, if you actually set your target, you collect the metrics and you break down your funnel into at least these 3 key metrics, and you do the math on, cool, in order to hit my target number and these metrics, how many leads do I need? At least now you have something to work towards and hold yourself accountable to. Once you do that, then you can play around with these numbers. And the power of having it laid out, this is why we have our founders actually lay it out when we work with them in the go-to-market program. We lay it out in a spreadsheet like this, is because you can play around with it. You can start to say, okay, well, maybe my pricing strategy needs to change. Maybe actually instead of $99, I need to sell at $299. Maybe I can actually tweak my activation, meaning I can change the new user experience, and we're getting 20% of the people to actually activate, take meaningful action when they start the trial. Maybe once more people are activating and they're actually seeing the value in the product, and we really reiterate the value, and maybe we add a little bit of a light touch onboarding process, and maybe even an optional sales call, we can go from a 20% conversion rate to a 40% conversion rate. All of a sudden, these numbers start to feel different. That means that in order to hit that 100K of target net new revenue, which by the way is a SaaS business, so once you get that 100K, it should keep recurring, so it's gonna compound. I only need to get 334 customers, 835 trials, and about 4,000 leads. And maybe I can do this over the course of a month, quarter, or a year, and you can decide on that. That's the power of using this basic equation. So often, people are just afraid of doing the math. But when you do the math like this in this simple way, you're able to figure out, okay, cool, well, that's the target. What do we tweak and what do we do? And how do we actually build a scalable go-to-market machine so we can get these number of leads? And all of a sudden, I don't know about you, but I do this all day long. When I do this, I feel calmer. I'm like, okay, at least now we know. It's not some anxiety thing. It's not some hope and a prayer, because that's not a strategy. We kind of know what we need to do. Let's figure out what we're going to do. And as you start doing it, you can start to see, well, this is the target. Here's where we're at. How do we bridge that gap? And then the magic happens. You can start to iterate, and you can start to scale it. You can start to get ideas on, well, how do we bridge that gap? We're generating this many leads. We need this many more. What other channels do we turn on? All those pieces start to come together because they're actually tethered to a basic equation that I didn't invent. It's very basic, but it gives so much clarity for founders that are looking to scale beyond initial revenues. So now you know this basic equation and the key steps to develop it and actually use it to figure out, how do I scale my SaaS business? Number 1, set a target. Number 2, establish your funnel metrics. Essentially, what's the activation, what's the conversion, and what's your average deal size? And number 3, do the math equation and figure out how many leads you need or how many trials you need. And then based on that, figure out exactly what your scalable go-to-market strategy is going to be so you can drive growth for your SaaS business. And now you know exactly what you need to do. What you may not know is, TK, how do I actually generate this many leads? Or how do I tweak these pieces of the process? How do I get my activation rate higher? How do I get my conversion rate higher? Well, this is where a proper go-to-market strategy comes together. The key parts of a go-to-market strategy is to actually have a clear ideal customer profile, have a clear message, which is your manifesto, and then have a Broadway show that consistently runs to actually generate quality trials or leads and pipeline. So if you're in this stage where you have those initial revenues, or you have revenues but now you're not sure how to drive growth, then this is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this go-to-market coaching program, I will work with you to actually flesh out your ideal customer profile, build out your manifesto, and then run a consistent Broadway show that will help you generate quality leads. And as you're doing that, I'll give you tools like this to figure out what is the basic equation to help you figure out what your target is, but also more importantly, what are the key metrics and how do we improve that over time? What levers do you pull to actually say, okay, we need to get our activation up, or we need to get our conversion up, or we need to actually get better quality leads coming through? All those pieces go into a go-to-market strategy, and that's exactly what we do inside of the go-to-market coaching program. It's an incredible program, and we've shared so many success stories of founders that have gone through the program and scaled their revenues on this channel. So if you'd like to work together, just go to tkcater.com/GTM. tkcater.com/GTM. And on that page, you'll get all the details about the program. One thing that I know is the better the fit, the better the results, which is why if this sounds like a fit for you, just fill out the little form and we'll get on a call. On the call, we'll dig into exactly where you are with your SaaS business, what your goals are, what you're struggling with, and if it sounds like if it's a fit for the go-to-market program, we can help you. We'll be off to the races right away. It's an incredible program, so just go to tkcater.com/GTM. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. If you have a fellow founder, a co-founder, or a team member that would get value from this video, please share this with them. If you're part of a Slack group, WhatsApp group of other SaaS founders. We want to help as many SaaS founders as possible that are out there. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon if you haven't already. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. But when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. Take care, everybody. All right, here we go. We're going to do this and this. So hopefully this works out really well.